welcome back. So as you guys know, I like to share apps and sites that help make my life a lot easier. So for those of you who don't know or don't know me or whatever, I recently started a new podcast, and that is because I've been using a site called PodMatch. And so PodMatch is basically like a dating site for podcasters where you can have a guest profile and you can have a podcast profile. I have not had to find any guests for my podcast since using PodMatch. Now, with that being said, the reason why I decided to make a new podcast is because on PodMatch, you cannot cancel your subscription if you have active podcast interviews pending. So I had podcast interviews pending for myself to be a guest all the way up until December. So there was no way that I could cancel, and it's like June when I realized this. The other issue was I ran out of matches because I'm in such a niche since I am a children's confidence coach, and now I can go in there and like switch it up because I am an author now. Shout out to Lulu. I just did a review on them as well. But I had to like switch it, and I was kind of upset. Like, why do I have to? And you have to pay for it too. This is a subscription that you have to pay for. And so I'm like, what the heck? Like, I have to pay for this, and I don't even have any more matches. I thought that was kind of unfair. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make the best of it and figure out, what I can do. And so I went ahead and started a podcast because I'm like, you know what? Hey, I mean, some things are blessings in disguise. So I've had IG live interview shows where I have been doing that basically since 2020, and I had to go so hard to find guests. Like, I literally would spend hours sending DMs and emails out on LinkedIn, Instagram, email, like I said, just all the different places. I have not, since I had a podcast on PodMatch, I have not even had to find guests because the guests are sending their requests to me. So I don't even have to look for guests. I don't have to worry about, who's going to be on my show. In fact, I have had to pause accepting guests because it was overwhelming. There were so many people that want to be guests. I guess there's more guests than there are podcasts. So that's pretty cool. Another pretty cool thing is that they will pay you to host your podcast with PodMatch. Now, it's kind of like catch-22 because you're paying to use PodMatch and then they're paying you to be a podcaster on PodMatch. But I know like there are some people that are like doing podcasts like every single day back to back to back. But I have a full-time job and I teach clubs, and I have a finite amount of time where I can do interviews as well because I got so much going on. I'm booked and busy, baby. Okay, booked and busy. But I did make $10 more this past month than I paid. So I ended up with a profit, I guess you could say, in some regard. I'm checking to make sure I got a class coming up soon. So I'm just trying to make sure because I'm never late. But yeah, I ended up making money. I made $10 on PodMatch. So, and my podcast is brand new. I literally started in June and it's August right now. So it's been a few months. I've been on PodMatch longer than that though, because like I said, I was a guest and then I ran out of matches. So I wasn't too happy about that. And then I didn't like that I still had to pay my subscription even though I didn't have any matches. I think that that's kind of unfair. Anyway, I like though that it makes podcasting so much easier. And the thing that I like about podcasting is you get to like have like an hour or 45 whatever minute conversation with someone. You get to know them. You get to learn more about their life, more about where they come from. And as someone who's a continuous learner, I'm a sponge when it comes to knowledge. Like, learning is fun for me. It's so wonderful because I have access to all of these endless people who want to share their story. I have like 11 unread messages. I think I have like 12 podcasts coming up. I'm backed up. Like, I have like 7 podcasts that I have to release. there's something I have to do. There's something I have to match with. It's just so much. It started to become slightly overwhelming. But I love talking to people. I'm a chatterbox. I'm a chatty Cathy, as you can tell if you watch any of my videos. I go on, like, I don't run out of things to talk about. I can just go. I can talk to myself. I love talking to myself. So I love that was an option, and it's not unaffordable to like switch from the regular podcast. Like it's more expensive. What I'm trying to say, it's more expensive to have a profile where you're a guest and you're a host, but it's not like astronomical. And they are not paying for me to do this. This is not a sponsored review. Like I said, I just like when people have things that are, relevant, and there's apps and websites and things that can help. Sorry, I keep looking like this because I keep getting emails coming in. I told you I'm booking busy. All right. But anyway, I just like when there's resources that help, especially as entrepreneurs, especially as people that have goals and dreams and trying to do stuff. There are so many affordable, in this case, and free apps. This is not a free one, so don't misunderstand. But there are so many apps out there that we just might not know about. And so I would give PodMatch, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would give them an 8. Purely because I don't like the fact that I ran out of matches. I can talk about anything, and I get it. There's not a lot of people on there, I guess. So I'm hoping that in making this video, more people will join the platform, and I'll put the link in the description. And I think that they have an affiliate, so if they do, I'll put my affiliate link so that way you can get something and I can get something. You know what I'm saying? Mutually beneficial. I don't know for sure if they have that though. I just think so. But anyway, it makes finding guests so much easier. But like I said, if you're in a niche like myself and you might run out of guests. I mean, you might run out of places where you can be a guest, and that sucks. And like I said, you cannot cancel your subscription apparently until after you reached out to all your guests. I will say their customer service is pretty good. I haven't had too many reasons to contact them, but every time that I have, because I'm a questioner and I always ask questions. If I have an issue with something, I usually reach out immediately. The only reason why I didn't reach out about running out of matches and asking them why I still have to pay is because I like talking anyway. So I was like, I'm going to make the best of the situation. And so that's why I created the podcast, so I can still get my money's worth. But if that wasn't the case and I didn't want to have a podcast, I definitely would reach out to them and be like, hey, that's not fair. That doesn't make any sense to me because I'm wasting my money. I don't even have anybody to talk to. So keep that in mind. You could end up in that situation. And if you're not like me and you don't like having a podcast, then that could be annoying. Let's just keep it real. That's annoying. But anyway, overall though, like I said, when I have had to reach out to them, when I've had a question or a concern, I think I've reached out to them twice so far. They reply really quickly. Their staff seems to be really friendly. They answer questions. They send, when I ask them a question, because I'm like, how am I supposed to know if someone is a guest or a host? Because now I have both. And you get 3 recommendations a day. And I'm trying to figure out okay, this person isn't I recommended, right? But are you trying to be a guest on my show? Or are you trying to have me on your show? It started to get confusing. So they sent me some screenshots and highlight the area of how you can tell. And then I was like, oh, okay. So I like when places go, they clearly go above and beyond to help and make sure people understand what they're saying and what they're doing and all those kinds of things. So with that said, if I had to give PodMatch 1 out of 10, like I said, I would give them an 8, purely because you can run out of host places to be. Okay, you can run out of matches and you still have to pay, which I think is completely unfair. At least they could give you a discount or something. What I look like paying $40 for something and I can't even use it. I think that's completely unfair. But in general, PodMatch is a wonderful platform. There's so many great podcasters on there. You can interact with people from all over the world. I had a guest who was from Australia. I was a guest on someone from the Philippines. Someone from the Philippines was my guest. Now I'm going to be her guest. And it creates a real community environment because everyone is boots on the ground, entrepreneurs. There's people from all different walks of life. You can find someone like myself who just started in the podcast space. Like I said, I have had Instagram live shows, but it's different being on Instagram live and being on a podcast with your microphone and headphones and all that type of stuff. Is a different experience. And I was nervous my first one, so maybe I'll tell that story another day. But yeah, it's just great. It's a really great platform. You can interview or talk to people that are on TED Talks. Like I just recently, I think I talked to 2 people that had a TED Talk. You could talk to someone like myself who just decided on a whim because she didn't want to waste her money to start a podcast. So there's all different types of people. There's so many coaches on there as well. There's I interviewed a dentist recently. Like I never thought I would have a conversation with a dentist on a podcast, but that happened. I interviewed, who else that just like stands out? Like coaches, like I said. A woman who sells worms and is a laughter yoga coach, and so now I go to her laughter yoga classes when I can. What else? There's just so many walks of life, and for me, like if you send me a message, I'm gonna say yes, unless you're a pervert or a weirdo, because I do work with children. I can't have like certain things there. I can't have certain things because I work with children and parents and all that type of stuff, and I gotta protect the children's innocence. But all that to say, there's so many people from so many different walks of life that I never would have been able to interact with without PodMatch. So once again, if you are a podcaster and you are interviewing people, PodMatch is worth the money from that side. If you are a guest in a niche space, then yes, still do PodMatch, but make sure that you take the first available spot on people's calendars, because if you run out of guests, if you run out of places to be a guest, you still have to pay, and you can't cancel your membership until all of your open podcasts are done and fulfilled. So if you are a guest and you're in a niche space, like authors apparently have so much opportunity. Like if you're just a general wellness author, then you're fine. But if you're like real niched, then you ain't gonna run out of guests. Out of options quick, like myself. But anyway, if you are a guest and you're like, man, I need to find somebody like who will want to work with me, send me a message. Like I accept everybody. Now there's no guarantee that I'll accept you this month because I'm already booked in this month. I can't take nobody else right now just because I have too much going on. But I accept everyone because I feel like everyone has a story. Everyone has something that they should be able to share in a space where they can feel seen, safe, and heard. So with that being said, this is your girl, Coach Yana, and I do recommend PodMatch, like I said, with the caveats. But overall, PodMatch is a really valuable resource. And I just hope more and more and more and more and more people, more guests and more hosts especially, make their way on the PodMatch. And yeah, we can get to talk and we can chop it up. Clock it. All right, bye. Once again, this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I just like to share things that I've been using for a while that have helped me out. And if it helps me, then it'll probably help you too. Bye.
Ready to spark creativity and confidence? We had so much fun with the book of unfinished stories by the Laptop Life Coach. It's not just a book, it's a whole experience that gets kids laughing, thinking, and dreaming big. Perfect for ages 7+, and honestly, I wanted to create a story too. As a mom, I'm just so happy he stayed off screens and let his imagination fly for miles. So what are you waiting for? Let your child write the ending. Grab the book of unfinished stories now.